what Bernie has done for me, my life, and ultimately my family's life. So I'll give you a bit of a background story. I'll try and keep it as short as possible. Like I said, it's a long time coming. So about 6 years ago, I met Bernie. I was not in a great place, running my own business, working myself to the bone. I did a lot of driving around, looking at other people in their flashy utes and fancy tools, and I had a couple of old dungers that I'd fixed up, threw on the road just to get us going, and then it just stuck like glue. It just stayed like that. Every week, as things really didn't change, they didn't get any better, they didn't get any worse necessarily, I would sort of think, geez, we're a bit short this week. Oh well, I'll just work harder next week. I'll just work harder next week. I'll just work harder next week. And eventually it got to the point where I was probably closer to it than what I realised, but I was not in a great place, and I was ready to sort of give it away and end it all. Now I sit back and I've had a few friends commit suicide, and people I wasn't particularly close to, I suppose, but I went to school with them, so you knew of them, and you just think, wow, man, they had it all sorted. Like, what drove them to the point to do such a thing? And a lot of it is just so untold and possibly even unknown to themselves. Like, I was in that position where I really didn't realise how close I was to it. I knew how I felt, knew I was ready to give up, but didn't know what that meant. Anyway, so fast forwarding, I spotted Bernie's page, and I kind of knew who Bernie was because she was a mother of a friend of mine I went to school with. We were all close friends and we all hung around together. I didn't know what Bernie did or anything like that. But this page just spoke to me, and several times it popped up on Facebook, and I just shut it down and walked away. And it just bugged me all the time. Every time it popped up, I was like, I got to do this. But I still couldn't get on the phone and ring Bernie myself. So I got my wife to do it. I actually sent my wife a message with the link and said, I think I want to do this. And she got back to me and she's like, really? This is something you want to do? And I said, yeah, I think it is. So my wife rang Bernie and organised it all for that Saturday. And from then on, I haven't looked back. It was challenging at times, like with what Bernie does, clearing out core beliefs, traumas and things like that's happened. And it may not even be yours you're carrying around. It could be somebody else's that's been inherited. Bernie goes into more details. She's better explaining that than me. So working with that for years, on and off, every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. And once again, I was one of those ones. I was concerned about the money, like, whoo, this is costing me a fortune. And Bernie reassures you, it'll come back. It will come back. It will come back. And it does. Like, it's not like I've ever gone and done a session and handed over the money and gone, oh shit, well now I'm flat broke. That's the end of that. It hasn't worked like that. It does come back. It changes. And the more you clear, the more work you do, the better it gets. Okay, so if you're wondering what this is, it's definitely worth it. Give it a shot. You got nothing to lose, hey. So anyway, a bit of my story. I went and saw Bernie, and look, I think about 3 years into it, she gave me her book, and I never read it, and it just sat there. So I knew it was there in the back of my mind, but I never read it. And not until recently, not until about 12 months ago, my wife brought it up on a holiday that we're on, and she was planning to read it herself. And I picked it up instead, and I couldn't put it down. So I finished the book, and then I realised a few key things that I was doing wrong, or not necessarily doing wrong, but I wasn't helping myself. Was the gratitude book and the surrender book are basically physically writing it down. You can do it in your head, but I do feel it's not as good. That's just my personal opinion. I do feel it's a lot more powerful writing it down. It feels like you're removing these things from your subconscious and laying it out clear as day, what you want and what you don't want. So I sat down and I started affirmating, and I started my gratitude book, and started my surrender book. So once I slowly, and I mean slowly, got into a rhythm of doing these things, it almost became an addiction. So I was doing my books every morning without fail. And I've actually built my own kind of format of how I affirmate things. You know, I keep 3 diaries now. I keep my gratitude book, my surrender book, and my manifesting book, which, you know, I pummel that thing every day, every night before I go to bed now. I give that thing a thrashing. Still learning, just all fresh and new to this stuff. I've actually got to the point where I think I've actually helped a mate. Him and I have done something similar together, and he's now attracting what he wants in his life. And that's what it's all about. It's attracting what you want in your life and knowing how to word things, because we are caught in a society that's very low vibration, very negatively geared. So anyway, that's it. We went through some challenges last year. We bought a new house and we now moved to paradise. It's absolute paradise. We live at Elliott Heads, right on the river, and we look at the water every day. Found work up here at Bundaberg, and things are great. So, like I said, I felt like this is owed to Bernie, especially to all you blokes out there that may have a lot of trouble getting in touch with your spiritual side. Okay, so you know, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like things seem just a bit too hard, or you're a bit confused, may this stuff works. Okay, so yeah, cheers to you, Bernie, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.